Commander Lyra Brightleaf stood on the observation deck of the Central Defense Tower and watched the morning sun paint the crystal cities of Valoran Prime in shades of gold and silver. Her long silver hair moved gently in the warm breeze that flowed through the open walls. The elven cities below her looked peaceful and beautiful, just like they had for the past 1,000 years. She did not know this would be the last morning of peace her people would ever see. Captain Amy Rodriguez walked up beside her and handed her a cup of warm tea. Amy was one of only 50 humans living on Valoran Prime, serving as a liaison officer between Earth and the elven government. She had been on the planet for 3 years now and had grown to love the peaceful ways of the Valorans. The two women had become close friends despite coming from different worlds and different species. "The morning reports show everything is normal," Amy said in her careful English. She spoke slowly because Valorans preferred calm communication over rushed words. "All defense systems are working well. The bioships in orbit report no unusual activity in the sector." Lyra nodded and sipped her tea. The bioships were living vessels that bonded with their pilots, creating a connection between mind and machine that no other species had achieved. These ships could heal themselves, grow stronger over time, and respond to threats with intelligence that amazed everyone who saw them work. The Valoran military had used bioships for centuries to keep their world safe. Dr. Lisa Park sent her latest research data this morning, Amy continued. She thinks she understands how your bioships repair themselves now. The medical applications could help both our species. Dr. Park was another human on Valoran Prime, a scientist who studied the amazing biotechnology that the elves had developed. She worked closely with Valoran researchers and had made discoveries that excited scientists. On both worlds, her work represented the growing friendship between humans and elves. Lyra smiled at the news. The cooperation between their peoples had grown stronger each year. Humans brought new ideas and energy, while Valorans shared their ancient wisdom and advanced technology. Many believed this partnership would lead to great things for both species. They were wrong about having time to see those great things happen. The first warning came from the bioship patrol at the edge of the system. Captain Kira Moonwhisper, piloting her bonded vessel Starlight, sent an urgent message that made every military officer on the planet stop what they were doing. 6 massive fleets had appeared at the jump points, flying the dark banners of the Galactic Council. Lyra ran to the command center with Amy close behind her. The central display showed the approaching fleets in terrible detail. Hundreds of council dreadnoughts, each one bigger than the largest Valoran bioship, moved toward their world like a dark storm. The ships came from 6 different species that made up the council, but they all had the same goal: to destroy Valoran independence forever. "This makes no sense," Lyra said as she studied the display. "We have peace treaties with the council. We have never threatened them or broken any agreements. Why are they attacking us?" Amy checked her communication equipment and tried to contact Earth, but something was blocking all signals beyond the system. The Council had cut them off from outside help before beginning their attack. This was not a sudden decision, but a carefully planned invasion. The Council fleet commander, a reptilian creature named Counselor Zethkree, sent a message to the planet. His voice sounded cold and harsh through the speakers. "The Galactic Council has declared the Valoran species to be genetic deviants and a threat to galactic stability. Your technological advances and military capabilities cannot be allowed to continue. Surrender immediately or face complete destruction." Lyra felt anger rise in her chest. The Council had grown afraid of Valoran technology and wanted to destroy them before they became too strong. For centuries, the Council had controlled advanced weapons and technology in the galaxy. They did not want competition from anyone, especially from a species they considered inferior. "All bioship pilots to your vessels," Lyra ordered through the communication system. "Prepare for defensive action. Protect the civilian evacuation ships at all costs." The battle began when the Council fleets reached the outer defense ring. Valoran bioships, beautiful and deadly, rose to meet the invasion force. These living vessels moved like dancers in space, dodging enemy fire and striking back with weapons that grew from their own bodies. For a moment, it looked like the defenders might hold their ground, but the Council had brought overwhelming force. For every bioship in the defense fleet, they had 10 dreadnoughts. The Council ships used forbidden weapons that could destroy a bioship's living systems, killing the vessel and its pilot at the same time. One by one, the graceful defenders fell to the brutal assault. Captain Kira Moonwhisper fought bravely in her ship, Starlight. But even her skill could not overcome such terrible odds. She managed to destroy 3 Council vessels before enemy fire finally brought her down. Her last message to the planet was simple. Remember us. Make them pay for this. Lyra watched her pilots die and knew the battle was lost. The Council fleets pushed through the broken defense ring and began bombing the planet's surface. Crystal cities that had stood for thousands of years shattered under the assault. Millions of civilians tried to escape in whatever ships they could find. "We have to evacuate," Amy said, her voice tight with emotion. "There's nothing more we can do here." Lyra nodded sadly. She gave the order to abandon the planet, though it broke her heart to speak the words. The surviving military units would cover the civilian evacuation while she and her staff prepared to leave their beautiful world behind. As they prepared to board the last evacuation ship, Lyra handed Amy a data crystal containing all of Valoran, military knowledge and technology. "Take this to Earth," she said urgently. "Tell your leaders what happened here. The Council fears what humanity might become. They will come for your people next. Warn them." Amy took the crystal and promised to deliver the message. The 2 friends looked back at their burning world one last time before the evacuation ship carried them away into an uncertain future. Valoran Prime, jewel of the Elven civilization, fell to the Council that day. But the seeds of revenge had already been planted in the mind of one human captain who would carry a warning back to Earth. Captain Amy Rodriguez stood in the briefing room deep beneath the Nevada mountains, surrounded by the most powerful military leaders on Earth. 6 months had passed since the fall of Valoran Prime, and the weight of that terrible day still pressed down on her shoulders. The data crystal that Commander Lyra Brightleaf had given her sat on the table between them, containing secrets that would change humanity's future forever. Admiral Kate Morrison leaned forward in her chair, her gray eyes fixed on Amy with laser focus. The Admiral had spent 30 years in Earth's Navy, rising from submarine commander to leader of the entire space fleet. She was known for making hard decisions quickly and never backing down from a fight. Today, she would need all of that strength. "Tell us again what Commander Brightleaf said," Admiral Morrison ordered in her gruff voice. Every word exactly as she spoke it. Amy had told this story dozens of times to different groups of officials, but she never got tired of sharing Lyra's warning. She said the Council fears what humanity might become. They destroyed Valoran not because the elves were a threat now, but because they might become one later. She believed Earth would be their next target. General Megan Foster, head of Terran Special Operations, studied the tactical reports from the Valoran battle. She was younger than the Admiral, but just as tough, known for winning fights that others thought impossible. The Council brought 6 full fleets to destroy one elven world. That's not the action of people who feel secure in their power. Dr. Lisa Park sat at the far end of the table, her laptop showing complex diagrams of Valoran biotechnology. She had barely escaped Valoran Prime during the evacuation, and the loss of her research partners still haunted her. But she had not let grief stop her work. The bioship technology could revolutionize everything we know about space combat. Living vessels that can heal themselves, adapt to new threats, and grow stronger over time. Admiral Morrison stood up and walked to the large display screen that showed Earth's current military assets. The numbers looked impressive until you compared them to what the Council had used against Valoran. "How long do we have before they come for us?" Amy shook her head. Commander Brightleaf didn't know their timeline, but she was certain they would come. The Council has controlled advanced technology in this galaxy for thousands of years. They won't allow any species to challenge that control. The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. Earth's space fleet was designed for exploration and defending against pirates, not fighting a war against 6 alien species working together. Their ships were tough and reliable, but they could not match Council dreadnoughts in raw firepower. "We need allies," General Foster said. "Fighting the Council alone would be suicide." Admiral Morrison nodded grimly. "The surviving Valorans are scattered across the galaxy as refugees. If we can find them and convince them to work with us, we might have a chance. Dr. Park looked up from her computer. I've been working with Kira Moonwhisper, one of the Valoran pilots who escaped the battle. She's been teaching me how bioships bond with their pilots. The process is incredibly complex, but I think humans might be able to adapt to it. This news surprised everyone in the room. The idea that humans could pilot Valoran bioships had never been considered possible. The elves had always said their technology only worked with their own species. Explain, Admiral Morrison demanded. Dr. Park brought up a new display showing brain scans and genetic data. Human neural patterns are more flexible than most species. We adapt to new situations faster than anyone else. Kira thinks this flexibility might allow us to bond with bioships in ways that even the Valorans never imagined. Over the following weeks, Earth began the largest military buildup in human history. Civilian shipyards were converted to produce warships. Mining colonies in the asteroid belt became hidden military bases. Scientists worked around the clock to understand and adapt Valoran technology. The breakthrough came when Kira Moonwhisper successfully bonded with a damaged bioship that had been recovered from the Valoran battle. The ship, barely alive when they found it, began to heal and grow under her care. But the real surprise came when Dr. Park attempted to interface with the vessel using human neural enhancement technology. The bioship responded to Dr. Park's mind in ways that amazed everyone watching. Where Valoran pilots formed one type of connection. With their vessels, humans seemed capable of creating multiple different bonds simultaneously. The ship began developing new capabilities that no Valoran bioship had ever shown. It's like the ship is evolving, Dr. Park explained to the assembled officers. Human consciousness seems to trigger adaptive responses in the bioship's living systems. We're not just piloting these vessels, we're making them grow into something new. Admiral Morrison watched the test flights with growing excitement. The human-bonded bioship moved differently than traditional Valoran vessels, showing aggressive tactics and rapid adaptation that could give them an edge against Council forces. But their preparations were interrupted by terrible news from the outer colonies. Titan Station, humanity's largest mining operation, had gone silent. When rescue ships arrived at the location, they found nothing but debris and 20,000 dead civilians floating in space. Captain Amy Rodriguez studied the attack reports with cold fury building in her chest. The Council had struck without warning, destroying the station in minutes using the same forbidden weapons they had used against Valoran. 50,000 people lived and worked on Titan Station. Only a few hundred had survived in scattered escape pods. This was a test, General Foster said as she reviewed the tactical data. They wanted to see how quickly we could respond and what kind of defenses we have. Now they know. Admiral Morrison's face showed the anger that everyone in the room felt. Then we'll give them a different kind of test. One they won't expect. The attack on Titan Station changed everything about Earth's strategy. They could no longer focus only on defense. The Council had shown they would kill civilians without hesitation, which meant humanity had to take the fight to them before more innocents died. Dr. Park's research team worked faster than ever to produce human-compatible bioships. The first generation of hybrid vessels began emerging from secret facilities, combining human industrial techniques with Valoran biotechnology. These ships looked different from traditional elven designs, more aggressive and angular, built for war rather than exploration. Kira Moonwhisper trained the first human bioship pilots, teaching them how to form the mental bonds that would let them control their living vessels. The process was difficult and dangerous, but humans adapted to it faster than anyone expected. Soon, Earth had a small but growing fleet of bioships ready for combat. The real revelation came when Captain Sarah Wells, a test pilot for the new hybrid vessels, formed a deeper bond with her bioship than anyone thought possible. Her vessel, which she named Terra's Courage, began developing capabilities that no ship had ever shown. It could change its shape during combat, grow new weapons as needed, and heal from damage almost instantly. The ship responds to my emotions and intentions, Sarah explained after her first combat test. When I'm angry, it becomes more aggressive. When I'm focused on protection, it develops stronger defenses. It's like having a conversation with a living creature that can become whatever I need it to be. Admiral Morrison realized they had discovered something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Human pilots bonding with bioships created vessels that were more than the sum of their parts. These hybrid ships could adapt and evolve in real time, becoming stronger with each battle. As Earth's secret preparations continued, spy networks brought disturbing news about Council activities. The six species were mobilizing even larger fleets, preparing for what they called the final cleansing of genetic deviants. Intelligence reports suggested they planned to attack Earth within months. Amy Rodriguez stood once again on an observation deck. But this time she looked out at Earth's hidden shipyards, where dozens of bioships grew in massive cultivation tanks. The sight filled her with hope and determination. Humanity would not fall like Valoran had. They would be ready when the Council came, and they would make the aliens regret ever threatening Earth. Colonel Nina Hayes crouched behind the twisted metal remains of what had once been a Council supply depot, watching her strike team prepare for the assault. 3 months had passed since Earth began its underground war against the Galactic Council, and every raid had taught them something new about their enemy. The depot before them represented a chance to capture vital intelligence about Council fleet movements. Beside her, Commander Lyra Brightleaf checked her weapon and studied the target through her scope. The Valoran warrior had adapted to human military tactics with surprising speed, combining her natural grace with the aggressive strategies that humans preferred. Working together, they had become one of the most effective teams in the Resistance. Vera confirms the guards follow the same patrol pattern, Nina whispered into her communicator. Vera Starweaver, their Valoran tech specialist, monitored Council communications from their hidden base ship. She had become Nina's closest advisor and friend over the past months, teaching her about alien technology while learning human methods of warfare. The strike team moved through the asteroid field with practiced silence. Their bioships, painted black and running on minimal power, were nearly invisible to Council sensors. Dr. Lisa Park's improvements to the hybrid vessels had made them perfect for stealth operations, capable of disguising their energy signatures to look like space debris. Nina's bioship, which she had named Silent Strike, responded to her thoughts as she guided it toward the depot's docking bay. The vessel had grown and changed during their months of combat, developing stealth capabilities that amazed even the Valoran engineers. Its hull could shift color and texture to match its surroundings, making it nearly impossible to detect. The assault began exactly as planned. Nina's team disabled the depot's communication systems, while Lyra's squad neutralized the guards. The Council soldiers, reptilian creatures with scales that reflected light like mirrors, fought bravely, but were not prepared for the coordinated tactics that humans and Valorans had developed together. Intelligence data secured, reported Sergeant Beth Collins, the team's technical expert. She had learned to interface with Council computer systems using modified Valoran biotechnology. They're planning something big, multiple fleet movements toward the Outer Rim colonies. Nina felt a chill run down her spine. The Outer Rim was where most human settlements were located, millions of civilians who had no idea that war was coming to their worlds. Download everything and prepare for extraction. We need to get this information back to Admiral Morrison immediately. As they prepared to leave, Vera's voice came through their communicators with urgent news. Council reinforcements approaching fast, 3 dreadnoughts and a carrier group. They'll be here in 10 minutes. Nina made a quick decision. All teams, to your ships. We leave now. She knew they could not fight a full Council fleet with their small strike force, but they had accomplished their mission. The intelligence they carried could save thousands of lives. The bioships launched from the depot like living projectiles, their pilots pushing the vessels to maximum speed. Nina felt Silent Strike respond to her urgency, the ship's bio-neural systems flooding her brain with sensory data that let her navigate the asteroid field at speeds that should have been impossible. Behind them, the Council fleet arrived and began searching for the raiders. But the bioships had already vanished into the darkness between the asteroids, their stealth systems making them invisible to enemy sensors. This was the advantage that humans and Valorans had discovered together. Bioships could evolve new, capabilities much faster than traditional technology could be upgraded. Back at their hidden base, Nina and Lyra reviewed the captured intelligence with growing alarm. The data showed Council fleet movements that could only mean one thing. They were preparing for a massive assault on human space. Dozens of worlds would be attacked simultaneously, making defense impossible. They learned from Valoran, Lyra said, sadly as she studied the tactical plans. They know that humans will fight to protect civilians, so they're targeting as many civilian populations as possible. Nina felt anger building in her chest. The Council's strategy was designed to force humanity into an impossible choice: surrender or watch millions of innocents die. It was the same tactic they had used to break resistance movements on other worlds. Dr. Lisa Park joined their briefing with news about the bioship development program. The new generation vessels are ready for field testing. They're larger than anything we've built before, capable of carrying full strike teams and operating independently for months. The new bioships represented a leap forward in hybrid technology. These vessels could serve as mobile bases, growing food and producing equipment while remaining hidden in deep space. They were designed for the kind of long-term guerrilla warfare that might be humanity's only hope against overwhelming Council forces. Captain Sarah Wells arrived with her squadron of veteran bioship pilots, including several Valorans who had joined the human resistance. Her vessel, Terra's Courage, had evolved far beyond its original design, becoming something that neither human nor Valoran engineers fully understood. The ship seemed to anticipate Sarah's needs, growing new weapons and defenses before she even realized she needed them. The Council is adapting too, Sarah reported. Their ships are carrying new sensor arrays designed to detect bioship energy signatures. Our stealth advantage won't last much longer. This news worried everyone in the briefing room. The bioship's ability to hide from Council sensors had been their greatest advantage in the underground war. If that advantage was lost, their small fleets would be helpless against superior numbers. Vera Starweaver had been working on this exact problem with human scientists. "We've developed a countermeasure," she announced. "Bioships can now mimic the energy signatures of other vessels. A bioship could disguise itself as a Council dreadnought, or even a civilian transport." Nina smiled at this news. The ability to disguise their ships opened up new possibilities for deception and infiltration. They could strike at targets that seemed impossible to reach, using the Council's own identification systems against them. Over the following weeks, the underground war intensified. Human Valoran strike teams hit Council supply lines, communication relays, and isolated outposts throughout the galaxy. Each attack was carefully planned to cause maximum disruption while avoiding civilian casualties. The bioships proved their worth in battle after battle. They could repair themselves during combat, adapt to new threats, and evolve countermeasures for enemy weapons. What had started as modified Valoran technology was becoming something entirely new, a fusion of human innovation and elven wisdom. But the Council's response was swift and brutal. They began bombarding suspected human colonies from orbit, destroying entire settlements to eliminate possible resistance bases. The images of burning worlds filled news broadcasts across the galaxy, turning public opinion against the Council for the first time in centuries. Nina led a daring raid on a Council prison facility where they rescued dozens of political prisoners from other species. Many of these aliens had opposed Council rule for years, but lacked the military strength to resist effectively. Now they offered to share intelligence and provide safe harbor for human Valoran fleets. The Council's brutality is creating more enemies than their military victories can eliminate, observed Ambassador Claire Johnson, a former corporate negotiator who had become humanity's unofficial diplomat to alien resistance movements. She worked from hidden bases to build a coalition of species opposed to Council tyranny. The breakthrough came when Nina's team successfully raided a Council research facility and discovered their ultimate weapon, a biological virus designed to target human and Valoran DNA specifically. The weapon would kill both species while leaving others unharmed, allowing the Council to eliminate their enemies without damaging valuable worlds or infrastructure. "They're planning genocide," Lyra said quietly as she reviewed the research data. "Complete extermination of our peoples." Nina felt cold fury settle in her mind. The Council had moved beyond simple conquest to planned extinction. There could be no negotiation with enemies who wanted to erase humanity and the Valorans from existence. "Then we stop playing defense," Nina decided. "It's time to take this war to them." The intelligence from the research facility revealed the locations of Council fleet bases, weapon manufacturing centers, and command facilities. More importantly, it showed that the Council leadership was not as united as they appeared. Several species were growing uncomfortable with the increasingly extreme tactics being used. As Nina prepared for the next phase of operations, She looked out at the growing fleet of bioships hiding in the asteroid field. Human and Valoran crews worked together to maintain and upgrade their living vessels, sharing knowledge and techniques that made each ship stronger than the sum of its parts. The underground war had taught them valuable lessons about their enemy and themselves. The Council had superior numbers and firepower, but they lacked the adaptability and determination that drove the human-Valoran alliance. More importantly, their brutal tactics were creating resistance movements throughout the galaxy. Admiral Kate Morrison stood on the bridge of the massive bioship carrier Defiance, watching as the hidden shipyards of asteroid base Omega revealed their greatest secret. Around her, dozens of enormous bioships hung in the zero-gravity construction bays, their living hulls pulsing with energy as they prepared for their first mission. These vessels represented 2 years of desperate work, combining human industrial capacity with Valoran organic technology in ways that neither species had thought possible. Captain Sarah Wells piloted her squadron through the shipyard, leading a formation of hybrid bioships that had become known as Symbiosis Wing. Her vessel, Terra's Fury, had evolved far beyond its original design during months of combat operations. The ship now spanned nearly a kilometer in length, its hull covered, with weapon ports and sensor arrays that grew and changed based on tactical requirements. Fleet status report, Admiral Morrison ordered as she reviewed the tactical displays. The Alliance fleet had grown to include vessels from 3 minor alien species that Ambassador Claire Johnson had convinced to join their cause. The Kethmari provided fast scout ships, the Verlani contributed heavy assault vessels, and the peaceful Yothron offered advanced medical technology that could keep bioships healthy during extended campaigns. Commander Lyra Brightleaf coordinated the joint fleet operations from her position at the tactical station. The Valoran commander had adapted to human military procedures while maintaining her species' strategic wisdom. All bioship carriers report ready for deployment. The new vessels are responding well to their pilot bonds. The bioship carriers were the Alliance's answer to Council numerical superiority. Each massive vessel could deploy swarms of smaller bioships while serving as a mobile base for extended operations. The carriers themselves were living creatures, capable of growing new ships, producing supplies, and healing damaged vessels within their vast internal chambers. Dr. Lisa Park's voice came through the communication system from the research sections. The viral evolution systems are online and tested. Bioships can now share adaptive improvements across the entire fleet in real time. When one ship develops a defense against a new weapon, every ship in the fleet gains the same capability within hours. This breakthrough represented the fusion of human network technology with Valoran biological systems. The bioships could communicate and share genetic information through quantum-entangled neural networks, creating a fleet consciousness that learned and adapted faster than any traditional military force. Ambassador Johnson reports success at Port Haven, announced Lieutenant Commander Tracy Moore from the communication station. 3 more species have agreed to provide intelligence and safe harbor. The Council's support base is crumbling. Admiral E. Morrison nodded with satisfaction. The Alliance strategy had always focused on building a coalition rather than relying purely on military force. Each species that joined their cause brought unique capabilities and reduced the Council's ability to maintain control over the galaxy. The first major test of the new fleet came when Council forces attacked the Kethmari homeworld. The reptilian aliens had expected an easy victory against what they thought was a minor species with limited defenses. Instead, they encountered bioship carriers that deployed defensive swarms while evacuating the planet's population. Captain Sarah Wells led the counterattack, her enhanced bioship squadron demonstrating capabilities that shocked both allies and enemies. Terra's Fury had developed the ability to consume enemy vessels, literally growing larger and stronger by digesting Council dreadnoughts. The sight of a bioship eating a massive warship and then spawning smaller vessels from its expanded hull was something that no military doctrine had prepared for. "Enemy fleet is retreating," reported Captain Amy Rodriguez from her position aboard the carrier Vengeance. She had become one of the Alliance's most effective bioship commanders, her vessel specializing in electronic warfare and tactical coordination. Council forces are requesting immediate reinforcements. The victory at Kethmari proved that the Alliance could defeat Council fleets in direct combat. More importantly, the battle was broadcast across the galaxy, showing other species that the supposedly invincible Council could be beaten. Resistance movements on dozens of worlds began planning their own uprisings. But the Council's response was swift and terrible. They began executing civilian populations on worlds they controlled, broadcasting the massacres as warnings to any species considering rebellion. The message was clear: surrender or watch innocents die. Admiral Morrison felt sick as she watched the reports of mass executions on captured worlds. The Council had moved beyond military action to outright terrorism, using civilian deaths to break the Alliance's morale. "We can't let them continue these massacres. Every day we delay costs thousands of lives." Ambassador Johnson worked frantically to negotiate safe passage for refugees while building support among neutral species. Her efforts were complicated by Council propaganda that painted the Alliance as dangerous terrorists who threatened galactic stability. "Several species are wavering," she reported during the daily briefing. "The executions are scaring them into submission." The breakthrough came when Zara Dawnbringer, a young Valoran engineer, developed a new type of bioship specifically designed for rapid deployment and civilian rescue operations. These vessels could appear in a system, evacuate populations in minutes, and disappear before Council forces could respond. The rescue ships used advanced stealth technology and could mimic the appearance of civilian transports until the moment they revealed their true nature. "We've successfully evacuated the entire population of 3 worlds before Council execution squads could reach them," Zara reported with pride. "The bioships can carry thousands of refugees while maintaining full combat capability. These rescue operations had an unexpected strategic benefit. Each successful evacuation proved to watching species that the Alliance could protect them from Council retaliation. More importantly, the rescued populations often included scientists, engineers, and military officers who joined the Alliance cause with valuable knowledge about Council operations. The decisive battle came when Captain Wells led an assault on the Council's primary fleet base at Nexus Station. The station was supposedly impregnable, protected by overlapping shield generators and massive defense platforms, but Terra's Fury had evolved capabilities that the Council could not have anticipated. The bioship approached the station disguised as a damaged Council dreadnought, using the identification codes that Vera Starweaver had extracted from captured vessels. When the station lowered its shields to allow the damaged ship to dock, Terra's Fury revealed its true nature and began consuming the station's hull. "The ship is literally eating the station," reported Lieutenant Colonel Maria Santos, who was monitoring the battle from her stealth reconnaissance vessel. "It's growing larger and spawning attack craft from the consumed material." The sight of a bioship devouring a space station while spawning hundreds of smaller vessels created panic throughout the Council fleet. Their weapons were designed to fight traditional ships, not living creatures that could turn their attacks into food for further growth. Within hours, Nexus Station was gone, and the Council had lost nearly a third of their total military capacity. But the most important result of the battle was the capture of several high-ranking Council officials, including Admiral Zethkree, the reptilian commander who had destroyed Valoran Prime. Under interrogation, these prisoners revealed critical intelligence about Council plans and internal divisions. "The Council species are not as united as they appear," reported Colonel Nina Hayes, who had led the interrogation teams. "Several are growing uncomfortable with the extreme tactics being used. The Velthari in particular are questioning whether genocide is necessary to maintain order." This intelligence opened new diplomatic possibilities. Ambassador Johnson began secret negotiations with moderate factions within the Council species, offering them alternatives to the current leadership's extremist policies. These talks were dangerous and delicate, but they offered hope for ending the war without destroying entire civilizations. The Alliance used their momentum to liberate dozens of occupied worlds, always offering Council forces the choice to surrender rather than fight to the death. Many chose surrender when they saw bioships that could consume their vessels and turn them into Alliance assets. The psychological impact of facing enemies that grew stronger from battle was devastating to Council morale. Admiral Morrison watched the tactical displays with growing confidence as Alliance forces continued their advance. The bioship carriers were performing beyond all expectations, adapting to each new challenge and growing more effective with every engagement. "Status report on the Council's remaining fleet strength?" "They've pulled back to defensive positions around their core worlds," Commander Brightleaf reported. Intelligence suggests they're preparing for a final stand at their fortress world of Dominion. Morrison nodded grimly. She had expected this development. The Council leadership would retreat to their most heavily defended world and dare the Alliance to come after them. It would be the ultimate test of everything they had built together. Admiral Kate Morrison stood on the bridge of Terra's Fury as the largest fleet in human history approached the fortress world of Dominion. The Council's capital planet hung before them like a dark jewel, surrounded by defensive stations that could destroy entire fleets. But the bioship beneath her feet pulsed with confidence, its living consciousness eager to face the ultimate test of their alliance. Captain Sarah Wells had bonded so completely with Terra's Fury that the ship had become an extension of her will. The massive vessel now spanned 3 kilometers and contained entire ecosystems within its hull. Forests grew in its cargo bays, lakes formed in its lower decks, and thousands of smaller bioships waited in specialized chambers, ready to be born when needed. Council fleet strength is massive, reported Commander Lyra Brightleaf from her tactical station. They've gathered every remaining vessel around Dominion. 6 species, over 2,000 ships, plus the planetary defense grid. The numbers should have been terrifying, but Admiral Morrison felt only determination. The Alliance fleet had grown beyond anything the Council expected. Bioship carriers hung in space like living cities, their hulls covered with weapons that grew and changed as they watched. Hybrid vessels piloted by humans and Valorans moved between the larger ships like schools of predatory fish. Dr. Lisa Park's voice came through the communication system from her research vessel. Viral evolution networks are active across the entire fleet. Every bioship is connected and ready to share adaptations in real time. When one ship learns something new, they all learn it. This was humanity's secret weapon. Bioships that could evolve during battle, becoming stronger and smarter with each exchange of fire. The Council ships used fixed designs that could not change or adapt. They would fight the same way they had, fought for thousands of years, while the Alliance fleet became something new with every passing moment. Ambassador Claire Johnson coordinated with resistance movements throughout the galaxy from her diplomatic vessel. 17 species have declared their support for the Alliance. Council authority is collapsing on dozens of worlds. They're fighting for their survival now, not their empire. The first phase of the assault began when Captain Amy Rodriguez led a squadron of stealth bioships through Dominion's outer defense ring. Her vessels had evolved the ability to become completely invisible, appearing as empty space to even the most advanced sensors. They struck at communication relays and sensor stations, blinding the defenders before the main assault began. Planetary shields are down in sectors 7 through 12, reported Colonel Nina Hayes, who commanded the Electronic Warfare Division. Bioships are infiltrating the defense grid and disrupting their targeting systems. Admiral Morrison watched the tactical display as Alliance forces pushed through the first layer of defenses. The bioships moved like living creatures, flowing around obstacles and striking at weak points with instinctive precision. When Council vessels damaged them, they simply healed and continued fighting. The breakthrough came when Terra's Fury reached the inner defense perimeter. Captain Wells guided her massive bioship directly toward the largest defense station, ignoring the concentrated fire that would have destroyed any normal vessel. Instead of taking damage, Terra's Fury began to absorb the energy from enemy weapons, growing larger and stronger with each hit. "The ship is consuming the defense station," reported Lieutenant Commander Tracy Moore in amazement. "It's literally eating their weapons and turning them into part of itself." The sight of a bioship devouring a space station while growing new weapons from the consumed material created panic among the Council defenders. Their training had not prepared them for enemies that became more dangerous when attacked. Some ships began to retreat, abandoning their positions rather than face such impossible opponents. But the Council leadership was not ready to surrender. From the surface of Dominion, they activated their final weapon, a massive orbital bombardment system designed to destroy entire fleets in minutes. The space around the planet filled with energy beams that could cut through any known armor. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Admiral Morrison ordered as the bombardment began. Bioships throughout. The fleet began rapid evolution, their hulls shifting and changing to deflect or absorb the incoming fire. What should have been a devastating attack became a learning experience for the Alliance fleet. Terra's Fury led the response, spawning hundreds of smaller bioships that swarmed toward the planet's surface. These vessels had been designed specifically for this moment, capable of penetrating atmospheric defenses and conducting precision strikes against ground targets. Commander Lyra Brightleaf coordinated the ground assault from her command bioship. Valoran warriors and human marines worked together as they had trained for months, combining elven grace with human aggression in devastating combinations. The Council's ground forces found themselves facing enemies that moved like dancers but fought like tigers. The battle for Dominion's capital city was brutal but brief. Council defenders had expected to face traditional assault forces using conventional tactics. Instead, they encountered bioship drop pods that could burrow through armor, living vehicles that healed from damage, and weapons that adapted to overcome any defense. Council Command Center is surrounded, reported Sergeant Beth Collins from the urban battlefield. They're requesting terms for surrender. But Admiral Morrison was not interested in half measures. The Council had chosen genocide as their solution to political problems. They had destroyed worlds and murdered millions of civilians. There could be no simple surrender that left them free to try again in the future. Captain Wells guided Terra's Fury into Dominion's atmosphere, the massive bioship descending like a living mountain toward the planet's capital. The sight of such, an enormous vessel approaching their seat of power, broke the last resistance among Council forces. "All Council fleets are standing down," announced Ambassador Johnson. "They're requesting immediate negotiation for terms." Admiral Morrison finally allowed herself to smile. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. The galaxy needed a new form of government, one that could prevent future genocides while allowing different species to develop their own potential. The negotiations took place aboard Terra's Fury, with the bioship serving as neutral ground for discussions between the Alliance and surviving Council leaders. The ship itself seemed to participate in the talks, its living walls displaying images and data that helped clarify complex issues. "The Terran-Valoran Confederation offers membership to any species willing to accept our principles," Ambassador Johnson explained to the assembled delegates. "Technological sharing, mutual defense, and respect for the development of all sentient life." The terms were generous but firm. Species that joined the Confederation would gain access to bioship, technology, and advanced medical knowledge. In return, they would contribute to the common defense and promise never to use genocide as a political tool. One by one, the Council species accepted the new order. Even the reptilian Zethkri, once commander of the fleet that destroyed Valoran Prime, acknowledged that their old system had failed. "Perhaps cooperation will succeed where domination has failed," he admitted reluctantly. Dr. Lisa Park announced the establishment of joint research facilities where scientists from all species could work together to develop new technologies. Bioship. Cultivation centers would be built throughout the galaxy, allowing any species to develop their own living fleets for exploration and defense. The most significant change was the establishment of dual capitals for the new Confederation. Earth and New Valoran, built on a world near the ruins of the original Elven homeworld, would share governmental responsibilities. Humanity's aggressive adaptability would be balanced by Valoran wisdom and patience. Captain Sarah Wells accepted. Promotion to Admiral, taking command of the Confederation's exploration fleet. Terra's Fury had evolved into something that could carry entire colonies to distant stars, establishing new worlds where different species could develop together rather than in isolation. "The bioships want to explore," Sarah explained during the ceremony. "They're curious about what lies beyond the edge of known space, and they want to take us with them. The galaxy entered a new age where technology grew through cooperation rather than conquest. Bioships spread throughout known space, each one unique, each one carrying crews from multiple species working together toward common goals." Admiral Morrison, now serving as the Confederation's first Supreme Commander, stood once again on an observation deck. But this time, she looked out at space filled with bioships that glowed with their own inner light, carrying families and scientists and explorers to worlds that had never known war. Commander Lyra Brightleaf joined her at the viewing port, her silver hair now showing streaks of gray from their long campaign. "Do you think we've really ended the cycle of conquest and domination?" Morrison considered the question as she watched a bioship nursery vessel releasing dozens of young ships into space, each one carrying a mixed crew of humans and aliens on missions of discovery rather than destruction. We've given the galaxy a different choice. Whether they take it is up to them.